I will always know. I reach for the plaid thermos on the cold passenger seat, pouring black coffee that can never get my cold soul heat. The radio dials are crackling with the melody out of tune, leaving me stranded and screaming under the unmoving moon. Oh, it's an alpine sunset, wave of a broken fantasy, a frantic Latin freestyle rhythm locked inside the soul of me. Hear the vintage TI 808 cowbell edits echo through the past, with every heavy staccato synth stab. Our love shatters like glass. You used to be my destination on this midnight track. Now I am sliding down the icy edge with no way of turning back. Just a vintage cassette spinning, losing frequency to the cold, dying for the nostalgic shelter of the story we ever told. The alpine wind is howling, carrying whispers of your name, a sophisticated romance turned into a freezing game. I remember your fingers tracing lines in the summer light. Now the frost freezes my wheel and steals my fading sight. We used to be a masterpiece, spinning on a chrome reel. Now I can't find a single warm emotion left to feel. Don't let the engine feast, don't let the motor slow to a stop. I am climbing through the blizzard, pushing straight to the top. In the alpine frost, fading into the radio static. The blue spotlights cut through the shadows of this high school gym as the final dance fades out and the warm fairy lights grow dim. I'm standing frozen in the center of the polished wooden floor, staring at the double exit doors where you walked out the door. The paper streamers rustle softly in the mild spring evening breeze. A cheap wonderland turned to a nightmare that brings me to my knees. An instant Polaroid camera sits abandoned on its tripod stand, capturing a ghostly picture of a girl without a partner's hand. Beside the punch bowl, a crate of vinyl records spinning slow, playing a lo-fi soundtrack to the second you decided to let me go. Now I'm just a static frame of sorrow, anchored deep in the past. The analog speakers crackle with the heavy. The analog speakers crackle with the heavy, leaving me stranded under the decorations to face this heartbreak alone. The heavy bass line starts to drop like an anchor through the floor. Oh, it's a prom night sunset wave of a total freestyle tragedy, a frantic Latin rhythm taking absolute possession over the soul of me. Hear the vintage TI coffee in the warm indoor air. A sophisticated romance that you chose to discard without a care. Don't turn the gym lights on. Don't let the final song reach an end. The syncopated bassline thumps like a burning fever inside my chest. Left alone at the prom, fading into the radio static.
Across the empty gym, where the memory of our innocence is growing pale and dim. I remember the smell of Aquanet, the corsage on your wrist, the nervous tension in the air before our lips had kissed. We were kings and queens of nothing in our rented velvet gowns, unaware of all the heavy storms waiting in the towns. But when needle drops on that vintage stereo track, the years roll off my shoulders and the golden days come back. The static on the radio is a whisper in your name, and suddenly the freezing dark catches a brand new flame. Oh, spin me in the silence of that high school prom night glow, back to the dream we anchored 30 winters long ago. When your fingers locked in my grip, completely unafraid, before the blueprints of our young devotion started to fade. Though the hands of time keep moving on a cold digital display, you will always be my sovereign queen beneath the silver ray. Spinning in the silence where the past is alive. We used to talk for hours while the engine caught the chill, parked above the valley where the neon world stood still. We swore that we'd outrun the clock and never compromise. I saw the whole damn universe expanding in your eyes, but life became an unmapped road of gravel and a stone, and we drifted down separate highways, learning to walk alone. Now I look at an old Polaroid fading in my hand, wondering if beneath the silver rain. The wind flows dark tonight. The crowds have walked away. The silver tinsel on the wall is turning into grey. I'm standing where the shadows stretch across the empty gym, where the memory of our innocence is growing pale and dim. I remember the smell of Aquanet, the corsage on your wrist, the nervous tension in the air before our lips are. The shadow of the subdivision falls in shades of deep indigo blue. I'm tracking down the avenues where I once walked with you. An autumn chill is hanging heavy in the suburban air, and amber street lamps flicker bright without a single care. I see an old BMX bike resting on the frosted lawn, a testament to golden years that have so quickly gone. Inside the houses, zenith screens are casting ghostly glows, but I am out here in the dark, where the cold wind blows. I find your knitted winter scarf tucked inside the glove box space. It still carries a faint memory of your soft embrace. The engine idles smoothly as I coast around the quiet bend, replaying all the promises that we could not defend. The neighborhood is sleeping under blankets of violet fog, while I am spinning down the blacktop like a catalog of choices that we threw away beneath the harvest moon. A beautiful arrangement that ended far too soon. The analog tachometer is glowing warm and bright as I prep the transmission for a slow and lonely night. The neighborhood is fading in a mist of retro dreams. Nothing in this twilight zone is ever what it seems. Oh, we are cruising through the twilight, cul-de-sac tonight, chasing down the fading embers of the golden light. Let the vintage Lindrum rhythm strike a steady driving beat as the Juno bassline pulses through the empty neighborhood street. Yeah, the V8 engine purrs along at 15% volume low to soothe the aching memories that just refuse to go. We are moving past the porches where the welcome mats decay, driving through the autumn fog to wash the past away. I slide a mixtape in the deck, a collection never shared, a dozen tracks of silent love that proved how much I cared. The chorus drenched electric guitar starts its lonely wail, echoing off vinyl siding down silver, heartbreak into purest gold. Oh, we are cruising through the twilight, cul-de-sac tonight, chasing down the fading embers of the golden light. Let the vintage drum rhythm strike a steady driving beat as the Juno bassline pulses through the empty neighborhood street. Yeah, the V8 engine purrs along at 15% volume low to soothe the aching memories that just refuse to go. We are moving past the porches where the welcome mats decay, driving through the autumn fog to watch the past away. The streetlights fade behind me as I reach the outer ring, no longer looking for the songs that we will never sing. The shadow, the subdivision falls in shades of deep indigo blue. I'm tracking down the avenues where I once walked with you. Digital dials are shifting slow toward the midnight hour, while down below the transport deck the V8 hums with power. I'm walking on the teakwood planks beneath the deep purple sky, where the running neon green and pink lines catch my lonely eye. The open deck is stretching wide across the tropical sea, a floating luxury prison that isolates the memory of you and me. The swimming pool is perfectly still, a glowing crystal sheet reflecting all the neon glare of this high-class retreat. An outdoor tiki bar stands quiet under the palm leaf shade, where a glowing vintage jukebox spins a record we once played. The warm maritime air is heavy with a sweet exotic musk washing over the empty lounge chairs, frozen since the dusk. A pair of gold aviator sunglasses left resting on the vinyl seat glints beneath the artificial lights. Where the currents meet, I hold a glass of visual paradise and watch the wake expand, a white foam highway tracing back to our forgotten land. The analog synthesizers open up a rich and warm embrace, while the ocean breeze tries hard to wipe the memory of your face. The ship is moving steady on a pre-programmed design, but my heart is stuck completely on a retroactive line. Oh, we are sailing through an oceanic mirage tonight, drifting across the dark blue waves under the neon light. Let the vintage drum patterns drive the tropical sway as the pulsing Juno bassline carries all my doubts away. Yeah, the V8 engine rumble is a comfort from the floor below, to anchor all the spinning thoughts that just refuse to go. You are the ultimate cruise, a luxury cinematic dream. Now I am lost at sea inside an analog color scheme. A vintage chorus, drenched electric, it goes an elegant wail, slicing through the warm night wine like a silver threaded sail. The chords are floating high above the radar towers and the mast, a beautiful transmission sent directly from our tragic past. I remember when we danced beneath the metropolitan glare, with the same gold aviator frame pinned inside your hair. Now I am traveling first class, but my cabin is a ghost, trapped inside the paradise where I miss your touch the most. The horizon line is non-existent, where the stars meet the deep. The entire microcosm seems to have permanently fallen asleep. No modern satellite network can trace the frequency I'm on. A solitary renegade floating long before the dawn. I watch the jukebox light cycle through their amber and their blue, giving up the final token that I saved to remember you. Analog synthesizers open up a rich and warm embrace, while the ocean breeze tries hard to wipe the memory of your face. The ship is moving steady on a pre-programmed design, but my heart is stuck completely on a retroactive line. Oh, we are sailing through an oceanic mirage tonight, drifting across the dark blue waves under the neon light. Let the vintage Lindrum patterns drive the tropical sway, as the pulsing Juno bassline carries all my doubts away. Yeah, the V8 engine rumble is a comfort from the floor below, to anchor all the spinning thoughts that just refuse to go. You were the ultimate cruise, a luxury cinematic dream. Now I am lost at sea inside an analog color scheme. The notes are gliding over the water, drowning out the maritime static. And the things I hold so dear, the Juno synth pads swell like giant waves of warm and analog grace, cleansing every lonely shadow from this beautiful nautical space. Oh, we are sailing through an oceanic mirage tonight, drifting across the dark blue waves under the neon light. Let the vintage Lindrum patterns drive the tropical sway, as the pulsing Juno bassline carries all my doubts away. Yeah, the V8 engine rumble is a comfort from the floor below, to anchor all the spinning thoughts that just refuse to go. You were the ultimate cruise, a luxury cinematic dream. Now I am lost at sea inside an analog color scheme. The vintage jukebox finishes its song, dropping the mechanical on with a click. Just a splash of tropical waves against the luxury hull so tight. And the warm Juno synth bass holding continuous note into the night. Oceanic mirage fading past the coastal reef, sailing into the deep, finding a quiet relief.
Slicing through the heavy mist, chasing down the phantom moments that our hearts miss. The theatrical fog machine is pouring smoke tonight, mixing with the blinding bursts of stroboscopic light. I stand beside the wooden crates of 12-inch vinyl tracks, while the steam pipe condensation drips across our backs. We used to be just echoes floating in a silent space. Now I'm trapped inside the rhythm, hunting for your face. The sub-bass line is trembling deep within the floor, and I am screaming out your name beside the iron door. machine. I look across the sweaty crowd beneath the crimson glare, but your specific silhouette is nowhere to be found out there. I try to mix a new record, wash the old melody away, but the minor keys keep pulling me back to yesterday. The TR-909 is hitting steady, fierce and loud, shaking all the rusted iron, standing proud and proud. Our history is printed on a dark magnetic tape, a beautiful obsession that I never can escape. I hear you whisper hiding in the static of the track, a classic 1980s warning telling me there's no going back. Industrial frequencies are breaking through the sound, shadowing the isolation underground. The vintage drum machine is hitting like a lightning strike, igniting up the midnight fire that we used to light. I feel the filter sweeping as the analog leads begin, awakening the desperate love that's burning deep within. You're a high voltage ghost inside this heavy sequence line, and I am running out of breath trying to make you mine. Oh, Berlin warehouse echo back my lonely cry, pounding through the speakers underneath the strobe lit sky. We were only dancers falling through the where and when. Now I'm begging for the rhythm to bring you back again. Give me the tempo, let the Jupiter 8 roar, and rhythmic female chorus shaking up the concrete floor. Eurodance explosion ripping through the midnight air, slicing through the madness of a lover's deep despair. Oh, Berlin warehouse, lock the industrial groove, keep the speakers thumping till my heavy heart can move. Overload the amplifiers, let the resonance scream. A peak hour warehouse rescue from a bitter dream. The club bass vibration rattles through my very bones, drowning out the sadness of our isolated tones. We were born in the bassline, a retro masterpiece. No structural concrete wall can make the tension cease. The Jupiter its synth lead ascends to a piercing peak, unleashing all the hidden passions that we couldn't speak. Oh, Berlin warehouse. Oh, Berlin warehouse. Oh, Berlin warehouse. Oh, Berlin warehouse, echo back my lonely cry, pounding through the speakers underneath the strobe lit sky. We were only dancers falling through the where and when. Now I'm begging for the rhythm to bring you back again. Give me the tempo, let the Jupiter 8 roar, an emphonic female chorus shaking up the concrete floor. Eurodance explosion ripping through the midnight air, slicing through the madness of a lover's deep despair. Oh, Berlin warehouse, lock the industrial groove, keep the speakers thumping till my heavy heart can move. Echo back to me inside the strobe light blur, fading into smoke, losing the memory of her. The bass keeps hitting hard, the morning's creeping in, but this 1980 sequence won't allow the dark to win. Pounding TR-909, fade to the concrete grade, dancing through the remnants as the night dissolves away. Berlin warehouse, fade to crimson glow. You're the only echo that I know.
temple made of steel and gray and stone, high above the valley where the factories mourn alone. The windshield wipers shudder as the midnight sky ignites, casting jagged shadows through the cold industrial lights. I've been wearing a disguise, hiding behind a guarded pride, pretending I didn't feel the tidal wave inside. But every time the lightning flashes engines roar. No more hiding out inside the shadows of the shore. Parked inside a gentle made of steel and the gray and stone. a pounding heart against the suspension steel, proving to the midnight sky that this unchained biker romance is completely real. Let the fire come through. I ride this heavy metal machine across the slick iron grating as the gale winds wildly blow. A yellow rubber rain slicker stands frozen in the headlights of the cruiser parked down below. I used to think my solo track was permanent, a simple rhythm I could always safely play. But one look from your eyes turned my entire worldview from a frozen stone to a neon ray. Now I hear your classic name in every single stroke of the custom piston rod down inside, and I see a beautiful face framed in every flash of lightning across the continental divide. The cassette tape deck is spinning a wild unchained melody through the rain and the dark, striking steel on heavy chrome out on this lonely span just to ignite a permanent spark. No modern terminology, just vintage high voltage passion burning unchained and wild. We're breaking past the speed trap to protect the golden dreams of a restless child. Can you hear the dueling exhaust pipes howling out against the electrical thunderclap? We've crossed the threshold tonight, and there's no turning back on a master map. Somewhere the thunder awakening begins. It sounds too damn good to be real. The vintage distorted guitars are screaming out the heavy power that I feel when the restless heart finally gives in. The storm clouds begin to crack and part. I'm dropping the clutch on this iron stallion, driving straight into your heart. Across the bridge, yeah, through the lightning and the driving midnight rain, breaking the chains of the lonely highway and erasing the structural pain. The engine is running at the red line. Let the love come through.
The digital clock hits 2 a.m. in the narrow Shinjuku backstreet line as the steady monsoon rainfall washes over the vertical kanji neon sign. Electric crimson and electric violet reflections bleed across the wet ground, while the lonely alleyway echoes with a dull continuous
Mechanical sound.
I'm standing right beside a vintage 50cc delivery moped under the awning frame,
Staring into the glowing emerald lanterns that refuse to speak your name.
I look at the classic mechanical film camera hanging loosely by my side.
keeping my spirit alive.
But the circuits have completely flooded
Under this heavy Asian sky,
leaving me standing in the shadows
without a
single reason why. Oh, it's a neon meltdown, nothing but a midnight breakdown tonight.
We are two separate ghosts wandering out of the bright fluorescent light.
It's a tragic fool's game, a beautiful and broken nostalgic design to let your entire destination intertwine.
With a shifting borderline,
Standing in the rain-slicked alleyway,
while the cold drops crash down.
we're just two anonymous strangers.
In this massive crowded town,
You took the ultimate vow of love.
and let it fade into the dark.
Was it really wise to let your memory control my primary dashboard view?
Tuning into a ghost station just to catch a fleeting frequency of you.
The vintage chorus, drenched guitar notes begin to weep through the storm, proving that no amount of synthetic light
Can never keep a cold heart warm. The vintage Jupiter synth bassline pulses heavily, like a slow heartbeat strain, washing over the final defenses of my deeply isolated and weary brain.
We play the retro game of devotion until the machine completely locked up.
Drinking the bitter dregs of disappointment from a cracked ceramic cup.
The vintage Lindrum rhythm bouncing off the wall.
Answering the final countdown of our cinematic roll.
Vertical kanji boards flicker out.
And lose their neon glow.
This is the final monsoon meltdown.
That our lonely souls will ever know.
Oh, it's a neon meltdown,
Nothing but a midnight breakdown tonight. We are two separate ghosts wandering out of the bright fluorescent light. It's a tragic fool's game, a beautiful and broken nostalgic design.
to let your entire destination intertwine.
With a shifting borderline,
Standing in the rain-slicked alleyway,
while the cold drops crash down.
we're just two anonymous strangers.
In this massive crowded town,
Neon monsoon meltdown.
the Tokyo lights are bleeding out tonight.
No second chances left in the rain.
Slicked night. Walk away beneath your vinyl umbrella shade.
Watch our golden era.
Memories completely fade.
The digital clock hits 2:30 a.m. inside the isolated high tower broadcast room.
As the glowing red on air sign cuts the bright crimson square through the gloom.
Raindrops are pattering steady and soft against the panoramic glass panel pane.
While the city grid down below drowns in a quiet wash of neon and rain.
I lean close to the vintage broadcast microphone. on your studio desk stays quiet and cold,
while the most magnificent secrets of our history remain completely untold.
I catch the sudden warmth of your familiar voice breaking through the static air,
Washing over my defenses and erasing the heavy weight of my deep despair.
I've been so terrified to show the million wild emotions
Locking up my chest, but running away through this midnight downpour has been the ultimate test.
Are you listening to my midnight broadcast devotion?
Out on the open line,
I'm throwing our secret frequency
straight past the metropolitan design,
in a world that keeps us isolated.
trapped behind heavy walls of stone.
Your signal is the only harbor
Where my runaway heart is never alone.
Don't tell me that our golden era romance was just a temporary spark. We are the brightest beam of analog light cutting through the heavy dark.
Hold me close across the airwaves before the central transmitters fail.
The backlit analog view needles are slamming hard into the crimson peak.
As I find the absolute courage to broadcast the words I was too proud to speak.
You are the ultimate romantic melody spinning on my midnight turntable plate.
The only beautiful sanctuary that can override the cold calculations of fate.
The vintage chorus drenched electric guitar
Slicing straight through the rainy static,
like a sharp and musical silver sword.
the vintage synth bass line,
Pulses with an absolute,
undeniable heavy weight,
proving that our shared connection
completely overrules the laws of time and death.
The vintage land drum anchors our hearts against the city noise,
Bringing back my sanity
with the simple beauty.
of your reassuring note.
Let the main station breakers blow out.
Let the towers completely fall.
We are broadcasting our final romantic truth.
Right above the industrial Are you listening to my midnight broadcast devotion? Out on the open line,
I'm throwing our secret frequency
straight past the metropolitan design,
in a world that keeps us isolated.
trapped behind heavy walls of stone.
Your signal is the only harbor
Where my runaway heart is never alone. Hold me close across the airwaves before the central transmitters fail.
midnight broadcast devotion.
Signing off the airways for good tonight.
Just keep your radio locked tight onto my light.
Driving home to your studio through the fading neon rain. The ultimate vintage love story that the static could never tame. Midnight on the Riviera. Look at the stars reflecting in your glass. The long journey is finally over, and our summer is eternal. Standing barefoot on the polished teak wood deck of a luxury motor yacht tonight, where the warm bulb string lights overhead blend beautifully with the starry night. The balmy Mediterranean breeze is whispering a are cruising into an endless tomorrow, letting the electronic tracks elevate its grand, sailing together effortlessly past the borders of the world into a beautiful paradise land. Oh, let the Riviera starlight wrap us completely inside an eternal summer embrace, gliding effortlessly down the coastal lines as I catch the radiant smile on your face. Like the sunny vintage TX7 electric piano, the ghost of yesterday. We are breaking out of the ordinary boundaries, and we are finally here to stay, sailing into the golden dawn tonight. Everything is feeling absolutely right. Hear the cheerful 1980s meal pop harmonies. The long journey is finally over, and our summer is eternal. Standing barefoot on the polished teak wood deck of a luxury motor yacht tonight, where the warm bulb string lights overhead blend beautifully with the starry night. The balmy Mediterranean breeze is whispering a sweet and secret melody so clear as we drift quietly along the coast of Monaco, leaving every single doubt and fear down beneath the dark water to brilliant underwater turquoise hull lamps glow, casting a spectacular fluorescent aura that illuminates the coral paths down below. A polished crystal ice bucket holds a vintage champagne bottle grist.
High above the city on a roof of steel, the corporate towers lose the things they feel. At 8:45, the summer air is crisp and pure. With you beside me, all the shadows disappear. Below our feet, the grid of streets begins to gleam. A massive concrete maze dissolving like a dream. The massive neon billboard throws a violet dye across the layout of a deep, majestic sky. A flashing red LED watch upon the glass counts down the twilight seconds as they pass. The frosted bottle catches rays of fading light. The city clocks are ticking to an endless beat. Far away from all the noise down on the street, I watch the red display blink soft upon your hand. This elevated sanctuary in the sky. Oh, Frankfurt Sky Lounge, lift us to the stars, above the roaring engines and the rushing cars. With pulsing vintage Juno basslines on the rise, I see the cosmic wonders glowing in your eyes. Beneath the violet shade of neon electric hum, electronic seven snares crack through the dark as our two elevated souls ignite a spark. We leave the frozen world behind the penthouse door. The glass and metal structures turn to liquid gold, a sacred modern story waiting to be told. Your very presence is a warm, protecting tide, where all my weary thoughts
reflection of your smiling face. The cosmic sensor soaring high above the ground, a bright cascading wave of electronic sound. The vintage arpeggiator starts its stellar flight. The neon sign hums low, a vintage retro prayer. Just you and me atop the glass and steel domain, far out of reach from all the shadows and the pain. The digital display blinks red inside the night. Neon sign electric hum,